Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the railway and welcome to another Express review. Now, you would not believe how many people have asked me to review this locomotive. I honestly never would have expected that. It's not particularly detailed, it's quite an old one, yet it seems to be so popular. So today I'm going to be unboxing and doing a little bit of a quick review of the Lima Deltic. And here it is now. Again, I won't say I don't understand what the attraction is, because it is a great little loco and it does exactly what it says on the tin. But yeah, I was not expecting this to be as popular as it has been. So yes, it's the Lima Deltic. I don't even think my version is the nicest of the Lima ones. I think they might have done the prototype, which was in the blue and silver, of course. Absolutely fantastic livery. If you look up the Deltic prototype, it just looks fantastic. There's also a BR green version, which I think, again, is even nicer than this version. Then I got this version, which is, well, it was very cheap. I think it cost me about 20 quid, so you can't say fairer than that, can you? So I'm going to get this out in just a second. First of all, I will just show you what's on the end of the box. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That just looks like a load of random numbers. If that does make sense to anybody, do let me know in the comments, but it's certainly not the running number or anything like that. So I guess that must be some kind of arbitrary cataloguing system that Lima must have used. Not great for retailers, though. You're certainly not going to look at the end of that box and know what's in here, are you? Right, never mind. Let's get this out then. And it's very minimal from Lima. I don't have any instructions with it or anything like that. Certainly no detail packs or anything of that sort. And I'm struggling to get this out here. There we go. So yes, definitely no frills. I think that's what we'll say for this. So, here it is. And the livery is quite nice, don't get me wrong. It is lovely, isn't it, in this sort of BR blue. But I think, as I say, there were nicer ones available. So there it is, number 9006. The name there, the Fife and Forfar of Yeomanry. No idea if I said that right. Yeah, I'm not too sure what that name means. I'm going to have a stab and say it sounds a little bit Welsh, but apart from that, no idea. So, what can I say about this? Well, very clearly, the detail is very basic, which is fine for this kind of model, because it means it is going to be robust, and you can play with it and mess around with it and such, get used to the hobby with it even, and not worry about it breaking. But it has got the Deltic charm, hasn't it? I mean, look at this. It really is fantastic. It's also got a good amount of weight to it. Now, as we know, most of the Lima models are extremely light, but they have what I can only describe as a metal ingot, which goes through the centre of the model. It's just literally slotted in underneath the body, and in fact, if you take the body off, it drops out. But that is what gives the model 95% of its weight, and some of those can be really heavy. This one's not hugely heavy, but I know some of them, some of them can weigh 500 grams or something like that. But no, not this one. So there it is, the Lima Deltic. Here's a little bit of history then on the Deltics, and then I will get this up onto the white background and show you her up close. Alright, here we go. So the Deltics, also known as the Class 55s of course, were a class of 22 diesel locomotives built between 1961 and 1962 for British Railways. The Deltics had a very high top speed for their time, recorded at 100 miles an hour, I believe, which is quite high, and that made them perfect for express passenger work. Over the next 20 years or so, though, the Deltics were quickly outstripped by newer and more economical classes of diesel, and so their withdrawal and replacement began as early as 1980, which is less than 20 years since they were built. So really quite wasteful there. I don't suppose they were anywhere near ready for withdrawal, but of course I'm no expert. 6 have been preserved though, so they are at least well represented on heritage railways and other such places. Okay, let's take a close look at this. Alright, so there she is then, the Lima Deltic number 9006, up against the white background for you, and yes, as I've already said, this loco is particularly low on the detail front. I mean, it's not bad, and certainly for the price, you can't complain, but it must be said that it is pretty basic, and we'll get onto the detail in just a second, but first of all, I thought I would talk about the paint job. Now, as I've already hinted at, I think this particular version in the BR blue with the yellow ends has the least sophisticated paint job of all the Lima versions. If you want to see a better one, as I say, go onto eBay and take a look for the BR green version, which is similarly cheap. I think you can still pick those up for 30 quid or thereabouts, and there's quite a bit more painted detail on those. But no, this one's fairly basic, but to be fair, the painted detail that is there isn't too bad. So you've got the running number there, which is okay and quite nicely applied. Certainly from a distance, it's not too bad. You've got the British Railways logo on there, obviously, and the nameplate there, which I won't try and pronounce again. It's not too bad, but certainly if we're looking at it up close as we are here, you can see that it is a little bit low quality. I was going to say low resolution, but obviously the time this model was made means that it probably wasn't a digital image on there. But But yeah, certainly not quite as fine as some of the more modern locos, let's put it that way. The yellow ends, of course, are quite nicely painted, although the join between the yellow section and the blue section is a little bit fuzzy at times, but again, that's only really an issue if you're looking up close. Now, talking of the bodywork, as you can see, we do have these weird sort of black rectangles on there, and basically those are the little lugs that the chassis clips into on the body. It's a little bit unfortunate because it is very, very visible, of course, and there's sort of no getting away from that. I mean, you need them there to hold the body on. But yeah, not a massive fan of that, and I'm not too sure if they'd get away with that nowadays, but certainly for back then they seem to. Separately fitted detail, again, is very, very basic. Of course, we do have the glazing piece, which is inside the body, and all of the windows are at least glazed, so I suppose it's got that going for it. But apart from that, it really, really is just the buffers which are separately fitted, and I know that because you can pull them out. Go on then, let me show you. There we go, grab hold of one and pull it out. So yes, those are separately fitted, and they're not even glued in, they're just sort of held in with friction. But that's fair enough. Apart from that, I really can't see any other separately fitted work. However, the moulded detail is okay around the doors, as you can see, plenty of detail going on there. And particularly on the roof, you can see all of the grills and the fans and things are at least quite nicely moulded. Not hugely sophisticated and certainly not hugely convincing, but they do the trick. And again, from a distance, if we look at it from back here, it looks okay. And for about 20 quid that I paid for this, you really can't complain. So there we go, not too much to say on the detail. Oh, I better show you the underframe. So the bogies actually are quite nicely detailed. You can see all of the suspension springs there. Quite a nice bogie from Lima, I would say. The underframe is fairly basic, as you can see, a little bit of moulded detail going on there, but not too much to speak of. Right, so that's that. Performance then, let's move on to that. Not much to say on performance because it performs very much similar to most of the other Lima models, but we will do it nonetheless. So here we go then with the Lima Deltic. Okay, so there we have it then. There is everything down onto the track. I've got the Deltic on the outer line here, and I always feel tempted to couple her up to those sort of intercity coaches I've got. Are they Mark 2s or Mark 1s? I never know the difference. I'll show you them in a second. So for a change, I've put some blood and custards on there, which I think would be quite nice. 5 of those, so that ought to test her pulling capabilities quite a bit. Then on the middle line, a very similar looking locomotive to my mind, of course quite a bit larger. It is the Class 40, also with yellow ends, and yes, those are those coaches I mentioned. I really need to start learning more about coaches. So they're Mark 1s or Mark 2s either way, I'm not absolutely sure. And then on the inside line there, I have one of my favourite Lima locos. They're all Lima today, by the way. That's the Class 31, the Calder Hall power station, something like that. And as you're going to see when she drives past in a second, she's got a rake of wagons. But for now then, let's give the Lima Deltic a little bit of a slow speed test. So here she goes right now. I don't think you'll be massively impressed by this. Oh, there we go. As you can see, she jumped to life. Let me try it in reverse, see if I can't really turn it up slowly. Yeah, as you can see. Yeah, not really built for slow speed, this one, which is strange because I have Lima mechanisms just the same as this, which do the slow speed. It's just, I guess, different tolerances in the manufacturing. Or I suppose the armature could be faulty, but I do test the armatures, so at least during the last service it was fine. So I suppose something could have gone wrong since then, but yeah, she's not a brilliantly slow runner, is she? But she'll manage it. Let's see if I can get her going and then slow it down. That kind of worked, didn't it? Anyway, let's stop messing around. Let's get this started then. Off she goes. Okay, and the Class 40 then, going in the opposite direction, of course. Also with 4 coaches on this one. There we go. Learn to count, Sam. There we go. Really nice and smooth runner, that one. And then, of course, the Class 31 Calder Hall power station. See what she'll do as a slow speed. Yeah, as you can see, she'll crawl quite a bit as well. Again, virtually the same mechanism, so I don't know why that is. It's a bit of a mixed strain, actually. I did say just open wagons, but she has got some box fans on the back. Okay, see what other Lima engines you can spot and see if you can spot the odd one out. Alright, enjoy the running session. So as you may know, this loco does have traction tyres because it's only got 1 driven bogie, and in fact there are only 2 driven axles on that bogie, so not exactly up to modern standards, but it does mean that she's fairly powerful, and as you can see she manages those coaches just fine. There we go, everything running nicely today anyway, it all looks great. There goes the Class 40. Yeah, beautiful runner, and as I always seem to say, I just love the sound of the Lima locos. So here are some of my ratings for the Lima Deltic then. Detail 2 out of 5, power 4 out of 5, slow speed 2 out of 5, quality 5 out of 5, and of course value for £20 5 out of 5. 7.10 out of 10, and into the vintage ranking she goes. I didn't mention this earlier, but of course she is quite a few years old. So there she goes, 6th then, just below the Great Western Railcar. So yes, she is bottom, but as you can see by the different scores, there's not really a lot in it. They're all quite similarly rated.
Yep, I absolutely love it, to be honest. It's a very, very basic model, but sometimes that makes it all the more fun.
So let me know your thoughts on the Lima locos, specifically the Class 55. Is this your kind of thing? Do you mind the fact that they're low detailed, but you know, better to play with? Or do you prefer the sort of more modern, more expensive, but much more detailed models? I'll put up a poll so that you can let me know. I personally sit on the fence a little bit on that. I really do love these older models, and I love messing around with them and such. But equally, I love the super detailed modern loco, so I have to say I prefer both, depending on the mood. Okay then folks, well thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that for a change. I do love doing these vintage locos from time to time. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you all very, very soon on Wednesday. Okay folks, once again, 10th time lucky. Thank you for watching folks, I do appreciate it, and I will see you all very soon. Cheers everybody.